Música un poquito. Bueno, gracias. I don't know what to say. So beautiful to see this room full of friends and all these heroes that we have here. I'm going to speak in Spanish a little bit because there are people asking for translation and we don't have it. Bienvenidos. Este es el pabellón del GAF y de los fondos ambientales nacionales y regionales de todo el planeta. Y para nosotros es un gran honor tener a todos acá. Welcome to the GBF Pavilion. This is a joint pavilion. This is the first time the GBF does this with our partners on the ground, the environmental and conservation trust funds across the globe. We currently have around 118 funds globally. The GBF has contributed directly to creating 60 of these funds. Some of them are celebrating 30 years, like the Mexican fund. This year, Fumbio is turning 28, no? Jorge was telling me he's the oldest one, no? El Salvador, 31. We have our more recent friends in Africa, Café. Tapiola, you were a baby. Tapiola.
We're coming up.
Months old? How many months old?
Well, a couple of years now. So.
2 years. Our baby Tapiola here. But anyway, for me personally, this is like a dream come true. I have, in my professional life, I had the opportunity to work with many of you. And I think this partnership is something that is so organic for the GBF. And I see this coming. And I have to apologize because Carlos Manuel really wanted to be here. He created a fund in Costa Rica and run it. So CTFs, Conservation Trust Fund, are very close to his heart. But we're having very important meetings looking at the future of the GBF for the replenishment, our 9th replenishment, and also how we are raising funds for the Global Biodiversity Framework Fund, our new fund in the family of funds of the GBF. So he's really needed elsewhere. But he gave me the mission to really tell you how much this partnership is important for us. And you all answering to our call. We have been meeting since January. Actually, this whole process started with the Red Light meeting last year in Peru. Profonamp is here, was our host there. And we wanted to show the world, no? And to raise visibility to donors, philanthropists, and people around the world on the importance of this institution on creating change locally, particularly as the main funders of biodiversity conservation. So in this event today, and this is actually a party, so we're not going to try not to talk more. You know, Brazilians, Colombians, you know, all the Central American countries, we like to party, you know, we are party people. So we are launching this publication, okay? For the good of the planet, we just have one page here. But if you look at this QR code, we have more than a 50-page book where we collected and we summarize, you know, all the information and why we think conservation trust funds should be the partners of choice for mainstreaming biodiversity resources and funds on the ground, okay? They are very active working with indigenous peoples and local communities. We have incredible funds in Africa. We have the Mozambique here, who was also part of the GBF family. They were initially initiated by Sean, raise your hand there. Yay! Viva Mozambique, and we speak the same language. Also with a bank, we have Guinea-Bissau here. They're not here, but it's another fund that the GBF directly contributes to the establishment and creation of this fund. And through our engagement with Enduring Earth, we are establishing new funds across the globe. So it's really, for me, a pleasure to have you all here and to answer our call for this. I'm not going to go into the details of the publication. As I mentioned, this is a party, but I'm very happy to see that we have all these distinguished people and our friend Stephanie here. She's our, guest of honor because of the amazing work that her organization and her support to the CTFs and to the networks of the CTFs. So we have the head of the two networks mostly active right now, Red Luck with Jorge Café, and I'm gonna ask them to starting with Jorge, to tell us a little bit about what can you tell us in a very short words, a few words, on showcasing success and impact of the funds in Red Luck. Jorge, please. You can stay seated, whatever.
Buenas tardes, queridos amigos. Yo también lo voy a saludar en español. Realmente me siento muy contento de estar en casa y de sentirnos bien recibidos y hacer de este nuestro espacio vital. Ahora sí, vamos con las palabras. Dear colleagues and friends and allies, it is an honor to address you today on behalf of Red Luck and the more than 34 environmental funds that with effort and dedication are actively contributing to the sustainable development and conservation in our region. In an increasingly challenging context, our members have demonstrated admirable resilience and remarkable adaptability in the face of constant change. This brings to mind the early days of the Latin American Caribbean Environmental Fund networks in the 1990s. In response to the historic 1992 Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. At that time, the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, highlighted the urgent need to create institutions capable of attracting and managing donors' funds in countries with high biodiversity, particularly in emerging economies of the Global South. The Global Environmental Facility, during its pilot phase from 1991 to 1994, helped lay the foundation of the emergence of environmental funds, building the institutional capacity required to maximize impact on the ground. Among the most notable achievements we have reached as Red Luck, I would like to mention transforming protected areas into effectively managed and conserved territories, reducing habitat loss and conversion to unsustainable uses, strengthening the capacity of our local partners. Protecting and restoring key ecosystems is essential for biodiversity and human well-being. Conserving biodiversity and endangered species, promoting sustainable production in both terrestrial and marine environments. Enhancing policies coherence with meet the goals of the Global Biodiversity Framework, an ambitious roadmap that guide us toward conserving 30% of our lands and seas by 2030. And of course, building strategic alliances with governments, the private sector, and international collaborators. Today, I want to highlight the invaluable work of each of REDLAC's members' funds that we are here today. We have faced not only environmental challenges, but also the social and economic hurdles that directly impact our communities and ecosystems. A key element of our success has been the agility with which our members respond to the new challenges. Whether confronting the effects of climate change, managing the growing pressure of natural resources, or strengthening a strategic partnership with the private sector and other key actors, REDLAC has demonstrated an extraordinary ability to reinvent itself and move forward. Through initiatives like Conserva Aves and the Bridge Project, we are not only aligning our action with global goals, but also generating tangible and measurable impacts in our communities. Today, with pride and commitment, I can affirm that REDLAC is a leader in innovation, leadership, and commitment to a sustainable future for Latin America and the Caribbean. Thanks to the vision and dedication of each of the Environmental Fund members, we are making significant progress that underscores the importance of our work and solidifies our position as key players in global biodiversity conservation. I deeply appreciate your work, commitment, and collaboration. Let us continue moving forward with agility and resilience toward our shared goals. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Adriana, for this beautiful space and esta cálida bienvenida. Gracias.
Gracias, Jorge. Un placer. Thank you, Jorge. It's a pleasure to have you here. And now we have the pleasure to hear from our African friends, the vibrant network that we have in Africa. It's Café. We have the best coffee, but they are the best café. So I have the pleasure to have the president of Café, Teófilo Zongno. I hope I'm pronouncing your name
Yes, it's okay.
reasonably well. Please, Teófilo.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Normally, I speak French, but I will try to say a few words in English. Stephanie there, but it's okay. So, Café is a baby, but it's a network established since 2011 with 19 member funds operating in 22 countries across Africa, with almost 600 million in endowment fund, 200 million in sinking fund. Compared to what Jorge says a few minutes ago, you see that Africa is at the last position if you compare what is going on in Latin America and Asia. If I look at the global pollution in the world, Africa is 4%, only 4%. But when we are talking about biodiversity, Africa is the heart of the biodiversity. So I think something has to be done, absolutely. 600 million is insufficient to do what we have to do in this field. So I don't know exactly what are the criteria of the international donors, but there is something that has to be done. We start a collaboration with Jeff, and I hope that this collaboration will be different. I heard a few minutes ago, Jorge told me about the MOU that is going to be signed with Enduring Heart. I'm happy to hear that. we start discussing with Enduring Heart too. We start discussing with Jeff, and I hope that in a few months we'll have not only MOU but agreements, concrete agreements with Jeff and Enduring Heart. We invite you in Swakopmund in Namibia. You attend our GA, our Congress, and you know how we organize. I know what are our ambitions, and we really think that better things are ahead. Talking to Ms. Adriana, we start this journey in Washington in January. I really hope that Jeff will do things differently. Because we in Africa, we are not really happy. As I said, we are the heart of the biodiversity. How can it be that to raise the money we are at the last position? It's not normal. So things have to be done. There are a problem of co-financing. Jeff always talk about the problem of co-financing. We are notable established CTF. I think you must address that question. We are for the sustainable protection of our biodiversity. We are also thinking in Africa about structural reform, especially ecological reform, because we think, based on what international donors are doing, as I said, we are not happy, and we think that is those reforms that will enable Africa to not only protect its biodiversity, but its entire development. We can't talk about protection, the environment without development. It's important. So we are thinking about ecological fiscal reform. We had during our GA in Arusha, Tanzania, we called our respective government to do that, to carry out ecological fiscal reform. Let me take just one example. Nigeria is almost 200 million inhabitants. The beer drinking in Nigeria and the mineral water drinking there are not in biodegradable bottles. If we imagine taking honest 5 cents on each bottle, can we imagine how much we will raise per day and yearly? The only thing lacking now is political will, but we are working on that. CAFE is on the way. So we are calling for international donors to reconsider what their approach in Africa, to reconsider the criteria they are applying in Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Telfin. Yeah, let's talk more about that. I think we have a great opportunity in the GF9, and the CTFs are going to be invited to join us in the what we call the technical groups. We are starting to have these meetings in February 2025, and we are going to have discussions on exactly what you're talking about. How can we improve the way the GEF works? What is our programming? But it's very important to understand, for example, the GEF is one of the most open and transparent funds. You can find any information about your respective countries just by typing on your Google GF and the name of your country, and you find how much resources are available, who are responsible for it in your country. So I really have a call on you. Let's work together, okay? Us from the GEF Secretariat, you in the interactions with your governments, because I think that we can really put the CTFs on the radar of the governments and our donors. We already have a big partner on our French council member here, but we need to improve this, and we certainly would like to hear your comments and suggestions, and we're going to start that thinking about GEF9 in February, and we want real representation from the CTFs on our discussions. But now I have the pleasure to give the word to Stephanie to give us just a few words, because they've been main funders of the networks, and then we go to our great partner, Enduring Earth. So Stephanie, please. Right here. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so thank you. It's working, yeah. It's a pleasure to be here. Buenas noches, everybody. Entiendo el español, pero no lo practico. So yes, maybe I can introduce myself. I'm Stéphanie Bouzige. I'm actually the head of the French Facility for Global Environment, because the French government decided 30 years ago to create its own small bilateral kind of GBF, let's say. And I'm also the alternate for France at the GBF Council. So 2 reasons to being here, and I suppose I'm the guest star because just Carlos Manuel is not here, but that's fine.
We have planned that since the beginning.
No problem. I will make it short. At the FEFM, from the beginning, we trust in Conservation Trust Fund. So we've been also supporting a lot of your trust funds, with Madagascar a long time ago, with Mafund, with Funbio, with I don't see everybody. Café, Red Lac, Costa Rica por Siempre, and I'm forgetting a lot, Pacifico. So we mainly help in creating some of these trust funds or helping projects, projects that you are handling, you are managing in the ground. And why we trust you, why we want to work with you, is because you are always there. You know your countries, you know the stakeholders, you know the communities in the ground, and whatever happens in the country, you are there. And that's key for a donor. That's really key for a donor, to have a partner we can rely on a long time run. It's really important. So for us also, it's really a pleasure to be here. So I told you that we trust you for a long time, and we were convinced a little more about that because we've launched an evaluation that is public. You can find it, Google AFD, because the French Agency for Development indeed finance a lot of the trust fund also. So it's not only about the FEFM, but it's also AFD. And we had a joint evaluation of the trust funds for the 2021 Congress, World Nature Congress in Marsilia. And this evaluation is still accurate. And now with this publication, we have all the arguments to convince other donors, philanthropies, domestic resources, any type of financing, to trust the trust funds, the conservation trust funds. And my conclusion is I wanted to start with that, but it's also working as a conclusion. Actually, we are here at COP16, and all is about finance. And you are at the heart of that. And you are the one so stable, viable, trustful, on the long run in the country, knowing all your stakeholders and the communities and the local actors, and your financial tools, knowing the rules of the donors or financial or co-finances, let's say, or finances, and knowing the rules of the financial markets also. So you are the one able to aggregate all these tools, existing or innovative tools, for the conservation, for bridging the gap. So that's why we financed the Bridge project, and before the K project, with the 2 network, Red Lac and Café, and that's why we are supporting you, and we will continue. Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And it's so great to see some very important allies here of the CTFs. I want to recognize Carter Roberts and the whole WWF team here, and Tom Dillon from the Pew Charitable Trust, very much supporter of all the work, incredible work that the CTFs do. And that's another very important aspect. Many of the CTFs are executing agencies of the GBF projects, and they are, as Stephanie mentioned, very stable partners. They grow through government circles. They have the intelligence on the ground. So I think that's one very important option for our implementing agencies of the GBF to consider the CTFs as partners of choice in executing GBF projects. We certainly want to expand that under GBF 9, and that's part of our goals on this partnership. Now, I have the pleasure to hand the microphone from my great friend Zdenka. We are having where should I go? Because, okay, so they're telling me about the mic. And Zdenka is gonna lead us first talking about the amazing coalition that she is leading, the Enduring Earth, and then we're going to have a ceremony of signing an MOU, an agreement with Red Lock, okay? Enduring Earth and Red Lock. Zdenka, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Adriana. This is really loud. Thank you so. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and with all of you. So many familiar faces from so many years of working together in the Conservation Trust Fund movement. And I think this reflects all of us here, a journey that many of us have joined for many years, decades even, as we learn from each other. And there's something that Jorge, Teofil, Stephanie, Adriana, I feel we have to rescue, which is partnership. These networks are all about sharing information in a transparent way to learn from each other, to accelerate and drive conservation impact. And that is what has made Red Lock such a successful network. That is what has made Café such a successful network. It's the capacity to share with each other, to learn from each other about the good and the bad as we move forward. And in this journey, we have now reached a really important point, which started, as you mentioned, Adriana, in Red Lock last year, and led us all to work together in developing a white paper that really what it does is reflect the learnings of these partnerships, learnings that will hopefully, this event initially started as a process to have a white paper for the GBF Council, and really turned into an opportunity to learn from each other and to learn of all the lessons. Because conservation trust funds are the holders of knowledge in conservation finance. They are out there in the field doing this work, and they are resilient. They have been resilient through the times of the pandemic. Conservation trust funds have been resilient through changes in administration. They have weathered government changes. They have weathered investment challenges. Conservation trust funds are used to, going through the lowest and the highest points in investment strategies. And you have weathered this by learning from each other and making this work better. So Enduring Earth is also a partnership, and it's a partnership with all of you as well. It is a partnership between the Nature Conservancy, Pew, World Wildlife Fund, Zoma Lab, the GBF, Bezos Earth Fund, the Moore Foundation, Margaret A. Cargill Philanthropies, but also all of the organizations that work with us, over 100, no, I think Laura, correct me, we're over 200 organizations now that are working as part of our partnership, because Enduring Earth is really everyone who is in this room. It's about working together to create common visions in our nations that can lead to durable impact. Durability is what joins us with all of you, because all the conservation trust funds and all of us want to see permanence in conservation and in driving conservation finance forward. And you are all our teachers, because you have been doing these in your countries. You have been seeking new sustainable finance mechanisms. You have been innovating. You have been drivers in innovation. and we want to learn from you, and we hope that you can also learn from us and that we can all learn together. That is why it's really exciting for us to seek new ways in which we can partner to share knowledge management and to continue to do what we all do best at Red Lac and in Café, sharing information. So today we're very, very proud to sign an MOU with Jorge and with Red Lac, but also Teofil, to your point, and thank you for the invitation to Namibia. It was amazing to be at the cafe workshop. Tapiwa here, who took us out to go stargazing at night. It was an amazing meeting, had a great time. We will continue this journey with all of you, because this is a journey that is just beginning now with formally, but informally it has been, we are a family, we feel like a family, and we have worked very jointly together. As Adriana said also, because the institutionality is so relevant to permanence, every project finance for permanence needs to have the right institutionality, and conservation trust funds are the drivers of the institutionality as we move this forward. And as Adriana, as you mentioned, we're very proud in Enduring Earth also to be bringing in new trust funds to the community. For example, the new Gabon Trust Fund, which is now also joined Café. And unfortunately, Jasmine is not here today, but she's now part of our network. She's participating actively as part of our network. In Mongolia, the creation of a new conservation trust fund in Mongolia, new conservation trust funds in Canada as well. And we will continue to expand this to ensure that the conservation trust fund movement continues to grow and to support ongoing work in all of these nations. So we're very, very happy to sign an MOU that will allow us to continue with knowledge management and sharing. And Jorge, we appreciate all of your support as president of Red Lac in moving this forward. And Teofil, we look forward to doing the same and to working with all of you and to working together and understanding how we can continue to drive this process forward. Last, I'd like to recognize that I am one member of Enduring Earth, but there's many. You mentioned, Adriana, a few. But we have Pew, TNC, WWF, all sitting here in the, well, or standing as well. Carter, Jamie, Julie, Renee, Lucia, Tom, Ryan is in the back, Paulina, Laura, Maria Luisa. So we're here and we're packing this room because we truly believe in the power of partnership and in the power of the networks, but also thank you, Adriana, because it is also you as convener, you and Carlos Manuel Rodriguez as conveners of this movement who turned something that Carlos Manuel had as a dream in a Red Lac event and turned it into a reality. So thank you so much for doing that and for being our fearless leader and for having a pavilion shared with all the conservation trust funds. How amazing is that? So thank you so much.
Are you going to do the signing now? Well, it's like, do you have a pen?
We'll do the signing and then we party because
Yes.
Adriana has all kinds of salsa music ready for
Yes, and let's get out, put the chairs on the side. Let's do the signing. And sorry, I didn't see I didn't recognize anyone from TNC, but great that you did. Ryan, thank you so much. So go ahead, guys, take the picture. My phone. Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. Sei lá. Eles pediram coisa. So a big round of applause for the CTFs, for the partnerships. Long live the Jeff, long live the CTFs. And let's have some music. Thank you so much for all the great work you do. Okay? Thank you. Thank you so much.